Welcome to Kevin's Food for Thought. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps us reach as many people as possible. And now here is your host, Kevin Moore.
Talk about how do you test the spirits? When I was younger, I wondered how to test the spirits, and even recently, I was talking to my mom about it. And so, like always, if you have a question, it's in the Bible. So, our first part is here, 1 John chapter 4, 1 through 6. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits, whether they are of God, because many false prophets are gone out into the world. Hereby know ye the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesseth that Jesus Christ is come in the flesh is God, and every spirit that confesseth not that Jesus Christ is come in the flesh is not of God, and is that spirit of Antichrist, whereof ye have heard that it should come, and even now already is it in the world. Ye are of God, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. They are of the world, therefore they speak they of the world, and the world heareth them. We are of God. He that knoweth God heareth us. He that is not of God heareth not us. Hereby know we the spirit of truth and the spirit of error. So if you're saved and you have the Spirit of God, you're going to know something's not lining up with this person that you're watching on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook Live or YouTube or Rumble, or even somebody that comes up to you in public. This is something that I don't want to admit this, but I'll admit it. You see those videos on Instagram or TikTok, and they're saying, I don't know who this is for, but God is saying this to you now. You shouldn't just, because they appear to be a Christian, you shouldn't just automatically believe them. You shouldn't automatically believe me. Dig into the word for yourself. That's been a theme through my whole channel, is for me to get people to dig into the word for themselves. To read the Bible, it has all the answers. All the answers that you have. Like, all the answers for any question that you have is in the Bible. But that's how we're to test the spirits. Is we're supposed to have the Spirit of God within us. And we'll know the spirit of error. And like, there's a couple people I saw on TikTok recently, and the lady started saying that she wasn't really religious, she was spiritual. Okay, right there, that should be a check. Well, I'm not religious, or I'm not saying that against, religion, because we're not supposed to have religion. We're supposed to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. We're supposed to have a relationship with God. But what I'm saying is that if they're not claiming anything, but then they're going on to talk about how they're spiritual and how they had a dream that they saw Jesus and God, Jesus is God. All right, now 2 John chapter 1, verse 7. For many deceivers are entered into the world, who confess not that Jesus Christ is come in the flesh. This is a deceiver and an antichrist. Ooh. Acts chapter 17, verse 11. Is it 11? No, let's do 10. And the brethren immediately sent away Paul and Silas by night unto Berea, who coming thither went into the synagogue of the Jews. These were more noble than those in Thessalonica, and in that they received the word with all readiness of mind, and searched the scriptures daily whether those things were so. Okay, so we're supposed to have the Spirit of God. We're supposed to have the Holy Spirit to test the spirits, and we're supposed to use the Bible. Because if somebody's speaking something over you, but it's not mentioned in the Bible, it's not coming from God. It's coming from Satan. Because Satan has his preachers just like God does. Second Corinthians 11, chapter 11, verse 3, I think. Second Corinthians 11:4. For if he that cometh preaching another Jesus, whom we have not preached, or if ye receive another spirit, which ye have not received, or another gospel, which ye have not accepted, ye might well bear with him. Interesting. Second Corinthians 11. This whole 11 is great. Chapter 11 of Second Corinthians. Second Corinthians 11:13. For such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Christ. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. I say again, let no man think me a fool. If otherwise, yet as a fool receive me, that I may boast myself a little. That which I speak it not after the Lord, but as it were foolishly, in this confidence of boasting, seeing that many glory after the flesh, I will glory also. For ye suffer fools gladly, seeing ye yourselves are wise, but ye suffer. If a man bring you into bondage, if a man devour you, if a man take of you, if a man exalt himself, if a man smite you on the face. I speak as concerning reproach, as though we had been weak. Howbeit, whereinsoever any is bold, I speak foolishly. I am bold also. Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they the seed of Abraham? So am I. Are they ministers of Christ? I speak as a fool. I am more. In labors more abundant, in stripes above measure, in prisons more frequent, in death oft. Of the Jews 5 times I received 40 stripes, save one. Shipwrecked a night and a day, and I have been in the deep. This whole 11 is great, and it goes from, talking about that to talking about, some of the things that Paul suffered, but Jesus said that he was going to suffer many things for him. The point of this video is to share something that I don't hear anybody preaching. So much so that I didn't have the answer of how to test the spirits, whether they be of God or of the world, the devil. It always comes back to the Bible. Go back to the Bible. If you don't have an answer for something, go to the Bible. Like I've heard some of this stuff growing up, like, oh, you should test the spirits. I'm like, okay, you should test the spirits. And then that was it. Like nobody explained how to test the spirits. And I'm like, oh no, you're supposed to test the spirits because, that's what I've been told my whole life. And I know that it's in there because I've read it before, but I never really dug into it a little bit more than like sitting down and reading it a couple times. And I'm like, oh wow, it's typically you'll have subjects that are all over the Bible. It's not just one verse here and one, it's not going to be just like, oh, well, this is only in the Bible one time and it's in Acts or whatever. It's probably somewhere else. But my advice is don't just accept any spirit because they seem to be a godly person when you're scrolling on TikTok or Instagram or Rumble or YouTube or whatever. There's some preachers out there that there is so many false teachers out there. There are so many false prophets out there. And how do you tell if there's a false prophet? Well, they speak something that doesn't come true. There's a lot, and a lot of it seems good, but it's, you know, they're preaching and talking in a certain way and you're like, well, this guy, seems to, you know, believe like I do. And you know, then there's another lady that you find and she's talking about how she's spiritual, she's not religious, and she's never had you know, she's sharing her experience about seeing God and Jesus in her dreams, and then, she's really not edifying. She's not edifying God. She's edifying herself. She's doing it for views and likes and comments and stuff to be popular on TikTok, but there's no substance in what she's saying because there's no purpose in what she's saying other than, boasting about herself. I talk about myself. I don't think there's anything wrong with talking about yourself. Paul did. If you read the rest of that Corinthians and Acts, man, what substance is in Paul's life? Um, the other thing is, let's recap. Be filled with the Spirit of God. Be baptized with the Holy Ghost. Study the Bible. If it doesn't line up with the Bible, you know that the person that's preaching to you is not of God. Have a personal relationship with God. He's not going to lead you astray. If something checks in you, stop watching it. Go back and read the Bible because you don't know what kind of seed that person is either knowingly or unknowingly planting in you. And if I especially say this to any new Christians out there, if you're a new Christian or a baby Christian and you're watching TikTok and this lady seems to be a Christian or this man seems to be a Christian and they're talking about this stuff and they start getting you into, being spiritual and not actually having a relationship with God, not studying the Bible like you should, you could very easily be led astray because you don't know. Because you don't know the word. You're not consuming it. So that's extremely important, man. is to study that Bible. Most people have it in their room somewhere, or they have the Bible on, their family's bookshelf that's been passed down, or a family Bible that's been passed down. Even hotels, they used to have Bibles in every. Well, they were always NIV, which I don't like, but study that thing. Just do it. You just start off easy. You're like, okay, I'm a new Christian. I don't know a lot about the Bible. I've only known what I've heard growing up. Okay, but what you've heard growing up might not be 100% accurate is what I'm driving at here, you know, because this is big. There's a lot to remember about this. So when you're growing up and your grandmother, who has had two brain surgeries and two heart attacks and is a diabetic and taken both of her legs and is on a bunch of pain medicine. I'm not trying to knock my grandmother. I love my grandmother and I know that she's in heaven. I think about her a lot lately when I'm studying the Bible, but that's a lot to retain. And so you grow up and somebody's misquoting something or saying something that they heard some preacher say when they were a kid in the 40s or the 30s or the Great Depression, who misspoke, maybe wasn't filled with the Holy Spirit, who may have been doing it to build a career because the only people that were making money at the time were preachers in the Great Depression. I don't know. So you're a new Christian. Dig into this yourself. Even if you're a veteran, get back in this. Go to Genesis and go to Revelation and then do it again and then do it again. And if you don't have time to physically sit down and read it, you can put one AirPod in. You can put one AirPod in when you're at your desk instead of listening to, I don't know, Joe Rogan or, any other podcast that you listen to or music. I'm hearing clicking. I don't know what it is. Oh, somebody's calling me. That's why it's a spam call. I'm like, I hear something. Dig into this yourself because you don't want to go tell other people something that you didn't actually read for yourself, but something that you heard growing up from your grandmother, your granddad, your parents, whatever, your aunt, uncle, whoever's raising you, your foster parents. It doesn't matter who it is. You don't want to spread around something that's not even in here, do you? You're not going to get a good view on who God is if you're going through rumors and hearsay. You want to dig into it for yourself. That's a lot of the problem I have with some of the people on TikTok is they don't know this. They'll admit that they're not saved. Then they will say things like, well, the King James Version was written by a bunch of old white men. No. I don't think that's true. Um, well, Peter wrote that. Paul wrote this. Were they white? Do you think Paul looked anything like me? Do you think Peter looked anything like me? He didn't. So saying that a bunch of old white men wrote the Bible or translated it that's garbage. Stop listening to that stuff. Because you're just feeding your spirit all of this just false information. It's just false. It's not true. Like one lady was saying that King James himself translated everything in here. They've found manuscripts that are ancient. They can prove it. And the whole transcript, like the whole book of, like the original version of the book of Isaiah, when you translate it, like it's word for word. It lines up perfectly with King James Bible. So it's just justification because you want to live in a sinful life and you love this world and you don't love God. I'm sorry, but that's what it is. Humans like to justify themselves. Well, well, no. Get into the word. Stop trying to justify it because it's easier to be of the world and be sinful and let your flesh rule you. It's easier to do that because you've been doing that your whole life. And can I just ask you something? Can I ask the left something? Is it working for you? Are you happy? Because you don't seem happy. You don't seem happy. You seem angry. You seem like you're having meltdowns talking about. They never have meltdowns about Buddha. The left never has meltdowns about Buddha. They don't have meltdowns about Muhammad or any other re- belief system. I don't even want to say religion. Well, they all are religion, but it's only Jesus Christ. Now you got to sit back and ask yourself, like, you know, why is it always come down to Jesus Christ? And if, just say Satan is real and God's real, right? Who would you want people to not believe in? First, you wouldn't want, if you were Satan, you wouldn't want anybody to believe in you. And two, you wouldn't want anybody to believe in the one true God, would you? But unfortunately, a lot of people in this world now are delusional and they rather riot in the streets than just have a logical conversation because they've been given over to delusion. On a side note, speaking of false teachers and false prophets, there seems to be a trend with people talking about trying to speak like another call, trying to speak like Paul. You know, they want to talk like Paul because he's very like elegant, very elegant with his words. And they want to talk like Paul. They want to talk to their congregation like Paul did. But they don't want to live like Paul. They don't want to be shipwrecked for a day and a half. They don't want to be imprisoned. They don't want to be given 39 stripes, 40 save one, so that's 39. But I'm not going to give you the answer on why 39. I'll let you go search the word for yourself. They don't want to be put in prison. They still want to have a cushy life. They want to act like Paul, but they don't want to walk like Paul. Paul didn't have it easy. But I encourage you to dig into the word for yourself. And it'll change your life. Even if you've been a veteran and you've been a Christian for most of your life, your parents are ministers or whatever, dig into it. Really study that thing for yourself. You get stuck on a word, look up that word. Well, why is that word there? Oh wow, that means this. It's like I have a thing with people's names. Like I like finding out people that I meet or my family members or whatever. I like knowing what their name means. It's like It's crazy because, like, my name that my parents gave me before I was born tells the name, the meaning of my name is like one who was born in his own home, born at home. And Kevin was born in his parents' bedroom back in California. It's just crazy to me. And while I'm thinking of it, it only takes 2 seconds to hit the like button to get this out to as much people as possible, because that's what we're supposed to be doing in the first place, right? Is ministering to people. So I always thought that was dumb, people mentioning that in a video, in the middle of a video, but it actually works, and I do that. Sometimes I forget, and the preacher that I'm watching or whatever, he'll stop and say that, but it sucks that you have to do that, but I'm like, oh yeah, I like this guy. Man, I need to hit like because I want more people to see what I just watched. That was a good message. Whatever. Share it with your cousin, your brother, your aunt, uncle, your foster parents, whoever. Just share away because we want to reach as many people as possible. So I appreciate it. I love you. Peace.
Thank you for watching, and Godspeed. Welcome to Kevin's Food for Thought. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps us reach as many people as possible. And now here is your host, Kevin Moore.